Anyway, my task is greatly simplified because morning was quite a discussion on floods, environment, and whole lot of those issues. I'm not going to talk about development. I'll be focusing on growth, the heart of growth, and what Kerala has. See, while there are no exact numbers of the intensity of the floods or the damage caused by the 1924 floods, a reasonable guess is that it was more intense, submerging almost the entire coastline. Compared to it, the floods of 2018 are about 30% less intense and spread over more number of days, but the damage caused is supposed to be greater. Why? The answer probably is our growth trajectory and use of land resources without any concern for the environment. I think that's what I'm going to do. Now, what's the issue? Now, if you look at the long stretch, say from 1950 to the current current situation, there are two phases of Kerala's growth. The long period till the early 70s. So, a land expansionary phase of growth. I'll go into details of it. The period beyond saw an intensive use of natural resources. Again, I'll explain why or how it's come about. Now, both phases raise serious issues of environmental sustainability. Now, Kerala is paying the price for the unregulated exploitation of natural resources without a concern for the environment. Let us look at I don't have the numbers from 1950 onwards, but if you look at the 70, 71 to 86, 87, and the period beyond that, if you look at the GSDP growth, the period up to the early 80s, you had about 1% growth per annum. And beyond that, you see the growth just shooting up. And you also look at the coefficient of variation, you will see the first phase had very high variation. That's largely because it was agriculture played a very important role there and it was subject to a whole lot of natural sort of factors. Whereas the period beyond that, the agriculture's role has come down very sharply, and that's why you also don't have so much of now, more important, look at the share of the different sectors. In fact, if you look at till the early 70s, you would see about 40% of the GST was agriculture. And from mid 80s, it then starts falling very sharply. And currently it's in fact less than 10%. Now, which are the sectors which have gained in recent years? In fact, you would see, I've just highlighted one, construction. Today, if you look at the share of construction in GSDP, it's larger than that of agriculture. So, in fact, it's that number, 7.57 you see for 71-86. In fact, if you divide it in that long period into sub-periods, early 70s, you would have seen that construction share is only about 4%. So what you would see is that construction share in the GSDP has gone from about 4% in the mid-70s to about 11% by already 2002-2003, and it continues to be around that. Now, if the share has to go up from about 4% to 11%, you can very well imagine that was the growth engine. That was growing at such a rapid pace. And agriculture, virtually, in fact, you have negative growth over the last 10 years or so, and even earlier the growth rate was much lower, except for very brief rates, end of 80, middle of 90s. This is a very, very crucial factor. And now look at what impact it has had on land use. Now, till the mid-70s, if you look at, as I said, agriculture growth, fairly low. This is largely because already Professor Kannan had mentioned that in the past, the productivity of agriculture was pretty low. Productivity contributed very little for growth. It was largely expansion of area. Forests getting converted into plantations, croplands, uncultivated land getting into the same. Also low-lying areas, low land getting converted into, paddy fields and things of that sort, or coconut groves, and a whole lot of those things. But productivity didn't increase. You basically expanded the area under cultivation. Now, in fact, do it from the aggregate, do the disaggregate. You take a district like Idukki, what you would see is that Idukki, in fact, accounts for about 13% of the state's, the area, geographical area of the state. Over a century ago, 93% of the geographical area of the district was under forest. By 1975, it was only 52% under forest. The rest of it all converted into, other plantations, croplands, and whole lot of those things. But the interesting thing is, after 75, what happens? Because that conversion doesn't happen. It does come to a stop, but something else happens. I'm not going to get into the details if there are questions as well. Because I had some 1 or 2 tables, but I cut that out because specific instruction, not too many tables, not too many numbers. So, yeah. And just one point, you see, even the service sector growth, you would see it's largely banking and insurance, which showed a very sharp increase from about, late 80s to the current sort of a period. Otherwise, the share of most of the others have either remained stagnant or has fallen. That's the picture as far as the growth is concerned. Now, let us look at it from the perspective of land use. So, looked at from that perspective, the first phase of growth had a large component of extensive cultivation. You are basically, as already explained, you are moving into whatever is available, you convert, you start growing crops. Productivity was not very high, but it gives you some livelihood. But you just go on and on, expanding the sort of a thing. So, land under forest and barren and fallows was converted into crop and plantation land. Now, the higher growth in the second phase again had a large component of construction. Construction, which means very intensive use of land, intensive use of natural resources. Rivers and hills were excavated without bounds. In fact, that is what it meant. Because if construction is growing at 12% per annum over 25, 30 years, and your construction technology didn't really change much, what it meant was, whatever sand you have in the rivers, you just extract it without a bother about what will be the consequences. And wherever you could get granite or stones, you just dig it up. Whether it's a fragile land, whether it is prone to all sorts of disturbances, you just don't care a damn, go about doing it. And that is what was done. And in fact, at some point, I think this in the 80s also, when the Becker technology, there was some thought about the tax policy. If you go for, buildings with Pakka buildings with granite and other sorts of things, you have a higher building tax, and whereas Becker type of construction, you have a lower sort of a tax. All that really didn't work. So what has happened is, people have gone about using all these granite, sand so extensively in construction, and construction technology I think it's of the 70s or 80s, you just do everything, you apply so much of sand and there's no effort to save sand or anything of that sort. So that played havoc with the environment. So, in fact, let me sum up. So the state witnessed the low growth till 1987 and high growth since then. High growth also meant moving away from agriculture. And the very high growth sectors were basically construction, communication and banking and insurance. In this, construction is highly natural resource intensive and it has meant unregulated exploitation of river beds, encroachment of river streams and excavation of rocks and gravel without any concern for the environment. So, and the price, so earlier, extension and later very intensive use of the land resources. That's what has played havoc with our environment. And I think the recent floods really showed that we have to pay very high price for that, neglect of the environment. I think so any reconstruction, probably one has to keep this in mind and see what we should be building. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You have earned 8 minutes of discussion time, so let's have more questions. Yes.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sir, you have rightly mentioned about the exploitative trends in the construction sector. Recently, the Kerala government has once again amended the Kerala State Railway Samrakshana Niyamam, and they have earlier in the year 2001 itself they have the Kerala Water Management Law, etc. Even though we have a series of these laws, why is this issue still persist? The issue is even came to the case of implementing or monitoring, or it is the political nexus. What is the main factor behind this?